All right, so this weekend, or yesterday, I guess, Judge Kennedy handed in his retirement papers for the Supreme Court, and so we have a vacancy, and Trump needs to put somebody in. As of yet, I don't think he has anybody particularly. He hasn't nominated anybody yet, but of course the left is up in arms about this, and everybody is just tearing their hair out and gnashing their teeth. And I mean, if you didn't know any better, you'd think it was the end of the world. They're convinced that Roe v. Wade is going to be rolled back. Gay marriage is over. Brown versus Board of Education. I mean, it's done, right? We're going to go back to segregated schools. We're going to have water fountains for black kids and water fountains for white kids, and maybe we even have dog bowls for the Mexican kids or something, right? Yeah. Anyway. So the conservative groups, I've seen a couple, and they're all, we got to get this guy in. We got whoever it is, whoever Trump puts, we're gonna push him through, and they've got $10 million that they're willing to put up. And of course, the left has said the same exact thing, right? Oh, we can't let this person through. We can't let this person in. Neither side knows who this person is, and they're dead set on either pushing them through or keeping them out. It doesn't make any sense. You don't even know who this person is yet, right? Yes, Trump has said things in the past that he's not keen on Roe v. Wade, but at the same time, Trump has said a lot of things, and he has walked back a lot of those things, and so you got to keep that in mind. Anyway, the main concern here, why the left is so upset and why the right is so keen on pushing through whoever it is that goes that Trump nominates, that this one person is going to change the direction of this country for an entire generation. And I can understand why that might be upsetting to some. You also have to understand that if Hillary had won, she would be in the same boat right now. Right? She'd be replacing a swing vote judge, probably with someone on the left, a little more liberal, a little more, not liberal, I don't like to use that word, a little more progressive. And so the right would be having the same feelings that the left is having right now. Okay, the question is not the issue is not who this person is going to be. The issue is, why does this one person hold so much power? Right? Why is this one person so important? How have we got there as a country? How have we got that far as a nation? Right? When the founding fathers put this country together, right, there was 3 branches of government. You had the legislative, the executive, and the judicial, and they built in some checks and balances, and they're supposed to watch each other, right? Make sure that one branch doesn't get too big, the other ones don't get too big. And I guess for a time maybe that worked. You had the voters to kind of keep people in check, keep the senators in check, and maybe keep the president in check. And we all know that democracy here is, the way we vote is just the majority ruling over the minority. But really, there's nobody checking the branches of government. The branches of government check themselves, sure. But there's nobody checking the branches of government, right? We're supposed to be able to, but we can't. You look at all the gerrymandering nonsense and all the big money that just steamrolls people. I think I'm in Georgia, and I think it was in 2016. I want to say that either between 60 to 80% of state houses went unopposed. Okay, you have no choice, right? You really have no choice. So there's no check there, right? These senators, these congressmen, they get money from their lobby groups. They get money from their establishment parties. There's no check, right? They want power, and they consolidate power, and that's who they are, right? All 3 branches. They want a more powerful government. They want a bigger government, because guess what? A bigger government means there's more money, there's more stuff there for them, more programs for them to run, more tax base for them to consume, more money for them to put in their pockets. All right. Likewise, in the beginning of this country, we had something called the Bill of Rights. You might have heard of it. All right, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. Go ahead and read those. Right, the longest one, I think, is the Fifth Amendment. It's maybe a paragraph. They're fairly straightforward. There's not a lot of convoluted language. I mean, if you're literate, you can read them and you can have a pretty good understanding of what they say, of what they mean. Okay. It's important to note that the Bill of Rights was not a document to govern the people. It wasn't a list of laws by which the people had to follow. It was a list of rules, of laws for the government to follow. Right? It was a document for the government to stay in check, so that they would not become overpowerful and trample on the people. Unfortunately, right, we've let the government interpret that Bill of Rights. And every time they interpret the Bill of Rights, every time they rewrite an amendment, and I know they're not rewriting it, but every time they interpret it, they change the meaning and the intent to whoever it is, those nine folks sitting on that panel there. They get to interpret it. They are essentially rewriting it. And guess what? When they do this, the state becomes immune. The state has no more reason to uphold these rules. We've turned the Bill of Rights into rules for the people to follow. Right? We've become a land of laws, a land of rules, and all those interpretations are done by a group of individuals that want to consolidate power for themselves. Right? The fact that we have so many laws that we need someone to interpret them for us, that should tell you, that alone should tell you that the situation that we're in right now. Right? We have so many laws that you or I, we can't figure them out. Right? You have to have a professional determine what this law means. Okay? You have to have a professional decipher for you. Okay? We've allowed the state to tell us what our rights are. Right? Because you and I, you see, we don't know what our rights are. We don't know what we're allowed to do. I don't know if I'm okay defending myself. I don't know if it's okay for me to meet my friends and to talk about things that the state might frown upon. Right? We don't know our rights. No, we need the state to tell us what our rights are. Right? I don't think so. We know what our rights are. Right? We don't need to defend ourselves from the state to tell us that. Right? Sorry, we shouldn't have to do that. Right? We know what our rights are. We don't need the state to tell us what our rights are. Right? But we have. And we've allowed the state to take that power. And we've gotten ourselves into this situation where one person can shape a generation. One person can tell us, one person on that panel can now tell us what our rights are. Right? We don't need a tome of legal jargon to tell us what our rights are. We know what they are. Okay? We don't need court rulings. We don't need a panel of judges to look at court rulings from some other state and interpret and infer and decide that, well, I think this is what they might have meant. Well, I don't know. I think they might have meant this. Right? We don't need all that. It's easy. Okay? There's three things you really need to ask, and we can figure out 95% of the problems we have. Right? Was coercive force involved? Right? Did something happen that involved coercive force? Is there private property involved? or somebody's private property rights infringed upon? And lastly, right, was the interaction voluntary? Right? If it's a voluntary interaction, there's not much there. If it's involuntary, if I'm forcing you to do something, well, that's not right. Pretty simple. Anyway, I think that's all I got today. As you can see, I'm working with some new stuff here, trying to figure some things out. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at bpangy or steamit.com. I'm at bpangy as well. You can check out our website, libertymindedagrarian.com, or find us on Facebook. It's the same, just search for Liberty Minded Agrarian. There's a page and a group. Not many people in the group, but if you want to, whatever, it's there. So again, thanks for listening. Go out, sow some seeds of liberty. We can reap freedom together. Peace.